is to alleviate their suffering. The best thing to do is to cushion the effect of whatever has happened. So we tilted 900 hectares of land. And rains are going gradually. The belt we belong to, rain starts from April and the end around October. So if you say you're going to replant the Irish potato they planted, you may not harvest it. If you say you're going to replant the maize we're known for, you may not harvest it. So government, and with the Ministry of Agriculture, with ASTC, an agricultural company on the plateau, government owned, sat down and did an ideation. And at the end of the day, they came up with the idea of planting maize, not maize, groundnut, soya beans, and beans, so that our persons, our people will benefit from it afterwards. So that after mourning, after shedding tears and wiping your tears, you have something that you can cling to for your survival.
Now, over the years, Nigerians have had cause to distrust the government. As we speak, I doubt if there's any Nigerian that would trust anything that comes out of the mouth of any government official, for obvious reasons. One of the, if I'm quite familiar, if I'm correct, one of the things that the Caleb Mutfwang administration stands on is transparency. How does your government intend to show that transparency and accountability to the people? How do you win back the trust of the people, especially now that you're talking about these 900 hectares? Are there documents that would be released for the public to see? How do we know? Most of the time when we hear that palliatives are being given out or things are given out by the government, you can hardly pinpoint one person that you know for a fact that has benefited off of it. So what is your government doing about that?
If it is the trustability of government, you can come to us and do a random sampling. You know that the people of Plateau trust this government to a large extent because we have a man that knows God and fears God. And the persons he has paraded didn't just come into power for the sake of it. I wouldn't want to be blowing our trumpets. If you check the celebration that greeted his declaration as the duly elected governor of Plateau State, you will know that it cut across religions, political or other lines. And again, these farms are on the plateau. You people are journalists. You can send your journalists on investigative journalism so that they will confirm. We don't just give people wrong figures because they can confirm them. And some of us have a political future. Let's assume that there's no even political future. There's eternity. We wouldn't want to play politics and at the end of it we'll be in hellfire simply because of the decisions we take. Like I always tell people, once we know that we're not convinced that we're going to serve the people, we'll resign. We are people that have a track record. They know what we can do. They know what we cannot do. But even at that, you find detractors here and there. It's natural with politics. Some because of opposition. Some because they don't just like your face. Some because they feel they are more qualified or stuff. But in politics, there are persons that do it that is not dirty. There are persons that do clean politics. Like when we came to share our palliatives on the plateau, we established a committee rather, where you have the Jamaat al-Nasri Islam, you have the Christian Association of Nigeria, you have the National Association of Plateau State Students, you have civil society organizations, you have the Nigerian Labour Congress, you have the Commissioner of Information so that he dishes out the information, and you have the Commissioner of Agriculture because most of the interventions are food-based, you have the Commissioner of Finance because the money comes from finance, you have the Commissioner of Women Affairs because women are involved, you have the Commissioner of Youth and Sport Development because the majority of the persons that are vulnerable are youths. Then you have the Deputy Governor, who is a mother, who is a woman on the plateau, chairing that committee. And it will shock you to know that even when we went to sample for prizes, no government official went. Those of them that are not government actors were the ones we engaged to go to the markets and do surveys and know what will happen and give us the right, decisions to take. So we know these things. We were out of government too. You remember when I came here the last time, I was not in government. I was a critic. Now people are watching us too. You know, the higher you go, the more people see you.
Well, MAGBAN has, of course, in their statement criticized this and said they were not spoken to about this. They were not contacted. Names of their members who were affected were not included. What has the government done? Has the government had conversations with them to explain to them how this was done? What has the government done about this?
I was on Arise TV. I'm in your station now. By evening, I'll be on TVC. That's what we're doing.
But I mean, there is a way to have conversation with these people. Does it have to
We're not going to call individuals to have discussions with them. We're not going to call individuals. If tomorrow Blessing Chungwe writes, then we call her. If tomorrow Musa Garba writes, then we call him. If next tomorrow, if Chundungyang writes, then we call her. That's why we're using these mediums. If you go back home, we've spoken to the people. When we had the issue, when she came to Plateau State, like I told you, everybody was involved. There was a Christian prayer that was said. There was a Muslim prayer that was said. Women in their APC regalia came. Women in their time is now with their green and white. Barrister Keller moved on, supporters came. APC supporters came. It was a Plateau thing. It was not we didn't isolate anybody for anybody to say, okay, he was not involved. No, there was no isolation. Like I told you, it is communities that were affected, and those communities brought names. If they belong to those communities, the communities will write their names too. Like I told you, it's 500. A lot of people have been affected, Blessing. I gave you an example with one tribe that is in the fringes of Plateau and Kaduna, southern Kaduna, Atakar. We wanted just 20 names. They brought 120, and they said these are the critically affected people. It means there are others too that are affected, but these ones cases and issues are more. So you cannot carry everybody. Everybody cannot be on the list. And like I told you, some names are representatives. They are not the people that were directly affected.
Exactly where I was heading. Has your government done anything to actually investigate to be sure that these names that were submitted are actual people that have actually been affected, or are they just, dummy names?
No. I told you now that some of the names, they are not going to benefit. It's just
but
bring 500 names, and we brought 500 names. There are persons in the list that they are the persons that are affected, and they have a bank account. Now what we have done as a government is that for these hues and cries to lessen down, so that we don't behave like we have the almighty formula. We're not a stubborn government. We are open to discussions. We take everybody along. It is a bank draft first that came. Let people, so that for clarity. And on that bank draft, names are not written. Names are not written. Like I said, some of them that do not have bank account, there are banks in our local governments. We will take them to the bank. They will open an account. It's not rocket science. It's biometrics, and maybe if the bank is serious, they will not even ask you to bring your passport. They will snap you and fix it in their computer, and you will get your money. In the communities, some of them have agreed. They have their sharing formula. If, for example, if you go to Kwi in Riom local government where people were killed, they know the most affected. They know those that cannot bounce back. They know those that can bounce back, and life will just be almost like normal, like it used to be, even though it will never be like it used to be in the past. For you to just wake up one day and your parents have been killed. This is life and death we are talking about. I don't want us to trivialize it. I don't want us to make it money-centric. When 500 million naira came to Plateau and everything is scattered, everybody is running helter-skelter, releasing press releases. When people were killed, where were these releases? When homes were being sacked, where were these releases?
Well, now let's talk about Plateau State's the government of Plateau State, their vision for peace and prosperity in the state. Now, this money came from outside. She's not from the state, like you earlier mentioned.
But she's our first lady.
Yes, she is. Let's talk about what the government of Caleb Mutfwang is doing about insecurity in Plateau State. Plateau State has been plagued for, I think, about 22 years. The first attack on Plateau State was September 7, 2001, if I'm correct. And since then, it's been one thing or another, and it has moved from clashes to attacks and, like you rightly said, annihilations of different clans and people. What is this government doing to be sure that this thing ends and it's not something that is handed down from administration to administration? What is your government doing about it?
If a people resolve to live in peace, it's easier and better. No government will come to your house and kill you. So the resolution to live in peace is very important, especially if these energies that we're channeling, we channel it into sitting down to look at how we can live and cohabit peacefully. It would have helped us. For the clergies to say, if you ask, these people that are killing, where are they from? Who are their imams? Who are their pastors? Who are their preachers? Who are their motivators? Who are their parents? What do they tell them? Why do they kill people in the first place? Is it to show force? Is it to take over land? Is it just to kill for game? When we sit down as a community, especially when we bring these write-ups, It's important that we sit down and say, okay, we don't even want money to be laid and given us like handouts. It's better for us to live peacefully. If we are truly Plateau sons and daughters, if we truly are Nigerians that are patriotic, I think that is one of the things we should be looking at, to live in peace in the first place. Because if there is peace, you can't be talking about these things. We will prefer an atmosphere where our people will just go to the farms, get whatever God has given them. And you know how we are. We're not very bogus with spending and all of that. We understand what life is. We're not very, very flamboyant. Then again, in the past, when we get killed, it is like it's an embarrassment for a governor to say people are being killed under his administration. So they sugarcoat it. They do cosmetics. In our own case, the governor himself came to Aso Rock in Abuja, met with the president and commander-in-chief of the armed forces of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, and he told him, Oga, back home, there's fire on the mountain. We need you to intervene. And after that one, he knows that, okay, it's not the president's duty to be on the field, but it's his duty to command. He went to those that they can be commanded, the chief of defense staff, the inspector general of police, the chief of army staff, the chief of air staff, chief of naval staff, and he laid bare all the issues. A week after, the chief of army staff, General Lagbaja, was in Mangu. We've never had that on the plateau. When he went to Mangu, that was when we had the camp, an establishment called the Operation Hakwarenda Misa, and it brought down the killings to a large extent. The GOC of 3rd Armored Division, who doubles as the commander, Operation Safe Haven, was in Mangu too. In the past, people don't go, they give orders, they give commands. So we have done that. And again, there is, before Omotekun and Abu Beagu, we've had Operation Rainbow on the plateau. It's one of the first state-owned security outfits. In Abu Beagu and in Operation Rainbow, you will be surprised to know that in the last 22 months, they've not been paid. So the motivation to work is not there. As a government, we're hoping that we'll do all of that. And again, we are revamping them. We're getting cars and logistics for them. And people don't understand sometimes in Nigeria. Governors, as some people will put it, are the chief logistic officers, because you don't have any command to give to the commandant of Nigerian Security Defense Corps. You cannot call the GOC on your own. They will tell you that their command comes from up, from above. So if you tell them that there is crisis, it's just for their information, because you cannot tell them to go immediately. They have to make phone calls. They have to be ordered from above. So except we have state police, except we allow these state arrangements to function very well, a lot of these things cannot be achieved.
Are the Plateau State people, so should they be looking forward to seeing your administration, roll out the Operation Rainbow again, to see them on the streets?
We're revamping it,
we
like
do remember when the Operation Rainbow was put in place. Personally, I was in Plateau State at the time, and I remember how effective they were for a while, and all of a sudden it went down after the last administration came into power and whatnot. Are we supposed to expect to see that come back again?
We don't have any choice. We must secure our people. Like I told you, the primary responsibility of governance is security and welfare of the citizens. So we don't have a choice. We are revamping Operation Rainbow. If you check, the special assistant on security was an instructor with the Nigerian Defense College, General Shipi. We had to come and tell him, there is work to do at home. Come back home. And he has agreed. He has been working graciously. And we are hoping that we will liaise with all these associations so that we will work for the peace of Plateau State. Plateau is our Jerusalem, Plateau is our Mecca. So instead of us coming on air to say 500 million didn't come to us, we were not a part of it. We were a part of it. Everybody cannot get this money, and we want to reiterate. Let's not fight ourselves. Let's work as a team. Let's see how we can make Plateau better. Let's collapse all these cleavages, all these interests, all these divides, and think about Plateau, if truly we are from there.
Well, final question to you now. What message would you like to convey to the people of Plateau State and the wider community regarding the government's commitment to peace, unity, and the welfare of its citizens?
You can't take away peace for any development to thrive. So we need to live peacefully with one another. We need to go back to how we used to live in the past. We need to change our orientation. We need a new orientation, an orientation that is all-encompassing, an orientation that is pro-development, an orientation that puts Plateau first, in the middle and in the end, so that we live as a nation, as a people. Nobody lives forever. If you ask yourself, where is your grandfather? If he's alive, where is his own grandfather? So you can't take land and think that you've conquered or you kill people and you are happy with it. There are people that when you kill them, you cannot sleep forever. You've lost it. So why not live and let live? Let's make Plateau great. Let's make Plateau better. Let's make Plateau unique. Our clement weather, you can't find it anywhere. People have to put air conditioners to get our kind of weather. The fruits on the plateau, the kind of food we produce is second to none in this country. So I don't think we need to continue to live like that. We want to call on investors all over Nigeria and outside to come and invest on the plateau. They will enjoy it. In the past, the number of Europeans you have in Nigeria, you start with Lagos, then you come to Plateau. Because of our clement weather, because of the peaceful disposition of our people, because of our hospitality. And again, we have a new sheriff in town, Barrister Caleb Manasseh Muftuan, the man that understands leadership, a former local government chairman, one that understands what it means and it takes to make Plateau better. So come, let's join hands and make Plateau great. God bless Plateau.
Thank you very much, sir. Now, we've been having this conversation with the Commissioner of Information and Communications, Plateau State, Honorable Musa Ibrahim Ashrams. Thank you for your time and thank you for your thoughts. Now, that brings